Bone-chilling midnight confessions. Mediums reveal scary secrets from the dead. It was a moonless night, a silence so thick it felt like a blanket suffocating the town of Maplewood. The townsfolk whispered about the old cemetery, where shadows danced under the flickering lampposts, as if spirits gathered to share their secrets. Legends spoke of a hidden portal at the heart of the graveyard, a breach between the living and the dead. Every year, on this very night, a group of mediums would summon lost souls, their voices cutting through the dark like a knife. Folks had witnessed horror shrieks echoing through the night, the ground trembling beneath feet. A glimpse of shadows weaving among the tombstones. Among them was Maeve, with her jet-black hair cascading over her shoulders and eyes that sparkled with unexplained knowledge. She felt the air thicken, something electric passing through her body. It was as if every ghost in Maplewood had awakened, pulling her towards the heart of the cemetery. The wind howled, ominously revealing what she truly searched for. Did the spirits really have messages for the living, or were they merely tales spun from the town's collective imagination? Did you hear that? A tremor slipped into her friend Clara's voice, eyes wide like saucers. The echo of footsteps against cobblestones, rapid and erratic, sent chills down their spines. It was just them, but it felt like they weren't alone. Shadows loomed larger than life, whispering tales lost in time, hungry for the breath of life to share their tragic stories. There was something powerful about this night, a pulse in the air that made hearts race and palms sweat. They stumbled deeper into the graveyard, trembling hands brushing against cold, moss-covered stones. Laughter felt distant, replaced by a heartbeat that grew louder. The wind pushed them forward, or maybe it was the spirits, guiding them toward a grave that seemed to call out for attention. An old, twisted tree stood guard like a sentinel, its gnarled branches reaching out, almost beckoning. Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As they approached, the air crackled with tension, the whispers growing more urgent. Maeve's breath hitched in her throat. A sense of dread settled deep in her gut. What secrets lay buried beneath the soil? What unspeakable horrors awaited them? As midnight approached, the veil between the worlds started to thin. They could feel it, an impending revelation, a truth so haunting it would change everything. Would they be ready to face what the dead had to say? Just then, a low hiss emerged from the graveyard's depths, freezing their hearts and forcing them to turn back. But it was too late. What now awaited them was a mystery dark enough to swallow the light whole. The shivering breath of the night wrapped tightly around Maeve and Clara as they froze, caught in the grip of both fear and curiosity. The low hiss echoed again, slithering through the air, and a shadow flickered at the edge of their vision, darting between gravestones like a prowling animal. Silence enveloped them once more, broken only by the rapid thumping of their hearts. "Maeve, we should go," Clara whispered, her voice trembling like a leaf in a storm. But Maeve wasn't ready to leave. Not yet. Something deep inside urged her to press onward, a force more compelling than sheer terror. Excitement and dread tangled within her, a dance of adrenaline. "Wait," Maeve urged quietly, her eyes narrowing toward the grave wrapped in the gnarled tree's embrace. The very air vibrated around it, thick with energy. "I have to know." Reluctantly, Clara edged closer, catching Maeve's gaze. "What's so special about that grave?" she asked, her resolve wavering. But as they stepped forward, the low hiss sharpened into a guttural growl, sending both girls stumbling back a step. "Did you hear that?" Maeve's voice quivered with a mix of anticipation and fear. "I wish I hadn't," Clara muttered, her eyes darting to the looming tombstones, as if expecting one to leap at them. Ignoring her friend's hesitance, Maeve took a shaky breath and clasped her hands, feeling the adrenaline surge within her. She had sensed the dead before, had felt their stories in her bones. The legend of the portal had never seemed so real. As the midnight hour crept closer, more whispers seeped through the cracks of the cemetery. It felt alive, hungry, demanding to tell its tales. A flicker of pale light erupted from the base of the twisted tree, momentarily illuminating a weathered gravestone. Maeve squinted, trying to make sense of the letters carved into its surface. In a harsh whisper, she said the name aloud, Abigail Hawthorne. The name echoed as the wind carried it away, a haunting melody fading into the night. Suddenly, the tree groaned, its branches twisting as if responding to their intrusion. A hollow clarity enveloped Maeve, visions flashing through her mind, a woman in white, crying, searching for something lost. Maeve gasped, her heart racing. Clara, I can see her. She's reaching out. Clara's eyes widened in alarm. What do you mean? Who's reaching out? But before Maeve could respond, a rush of cold air swept through the cemetery, the temperature dropping as if the heat of life was being sucked from the very ground beneath them. Clara grabbed her wrist, pulling her away, but Maeve remained rooted in place, her voice trembling with a mix of defiance and wonder. No, I need to know what she wants. With a roar, the space surrounding them shifted, shadows lengthening as the air thickened. The ghastly hiss morphed into anguished cries, and the earth trembled, quaking beneath their feet. Specters began to rise. Faces twisted in sorrow, anger, and despair emerged from the darkness. Maeve could only watch in terror as the restless spirits gathered, merging into a swirling vortex of chaos. Just as panic threatened to overwhelm them, a figure stepped forward from the gathering shadows, an ethereal woman draped in white. Abigail Hawthorne locked eyes with Maeve, and in that instant, the world fell away. Help me before it's too late. The plea cut into Maeve's very soul, igniting every protective instinct within her. Clara screamed, Maeve, we need to go now. But Maeve stood firm. Wait, I can't leave her. An invisible force pulled at them, urging them deeper into the turmoil. They had crossed a line no living soul should cross. Would they heed the spirit's warning, or would Abigail's desperate cry pull them closer to the depths of darkness? The storm around them escalated, shadows growing sharper and more distinct. Was this the moment they would become part of the tragedy, or could they unravel the mystery before them? As an ominous chorus echoed through the cemetery, their decision hung precariously in the balance. Would they confront the truth that had lain dormant for so long? Time slipped away as the spirits screamed for their story to be heard, and just then, Maeve felt a searing pain pierce her chest. Her breath escaping her lungs, the portal was demanding its sacrifice. The pain pulsed violently, a white-hot sensation radiating from the depths of Maeve's chest. She gasped, struggling to breathe as the ground beneath them quivered with an almost sentient rage. Clara's terrified scream pierced the night, but it felt distant, muffled by the chaos swirling around them. Maeve! Clara cried, her grip tightening around Maeve's wrist. Come on, we have to get out of here. But Maeve couldn't move. She was anchored in place, eyes locked on Abigail's anguished face. The woman's expression morphed into something urgent and desperate. Those hollow eyes bore into Maeve, pulling her deeper into an abyss of sorrow. Each flicker of Abigail's pale figure resonated like a drumbeat, echoing with dark memories just beneath the surface. The shadows writhed around them, a cacophony of mournful voices amplifying their pleas. Maeve's heart raced, pounding in sync with the shrieks of the spirits swirling above. She needs our help, Clara, Maeve shouted, the words escaping her lips before she could process their weight. Help? Clara's voice quivered in disbelief, dread coursing through her like ice. How can we help her? We're just kids. Maybe that's exactly why we can. Maeve yelled, a rush of defiance igniting within her. We can listen. Finally give them what they need. As Maeve summoned her courage, she felt an electric tingle spiral through her fingertips, an ancient current coursing through the air around her. The gnarled tree behind them creaked ominously, its roots twisting almost like serpents searching for prey. In the chilling silence that followed, the spirits seemed to hold their breath, waiting for someone to break the spell. Clara glanced around, fear etched on her face. What if we can't? What if it consumes us? Maeve, then at least we'll know we tried, Maeve replied, her voice steady for the first time that night. She felt her heart pounding less from fear and more from determination. She stepped toward Abigail, who extended her hand, a ghostly invitation rising from the turmoil. Speak, Maeve implored, her voice cutting through the din of tragedy. Tell us what you need. The wind howled in response, a tempest of soul-wrenching terror that rattled the very bones of the cemetery. Amidst the howling, Maeve felt the weight of countless souls pressing in, their stories colliding against her heart like tidal waves. In an instant, she was engulfed in visions fragments of love and loss, betrayal and sorrow. The ethereal woman's voice cut through it all, a wretched whisper that echoed in the stillness. They took my child. Abigail's lips trembled, her sorrowful gaze unwavering. Before the dawn my secret must be released, or the curse will spread. Maeve felt a chill wrap around her, pure and cold. The urgency in Abigail's plea ignited a fire in her soul. What curse? What secret? She asked, forcing herself to remain grounded despite the onslaught of despair swirling around her. An unnatural roar erupted, and the swirling shadows shifted menacingly, threatening to snatch them into the depths of darkness. Clara shivered beside her, teeth chattering. I don't like this. We should go. Maeve turned to Clara, her eyes fierce. We have to know, Clara. This is bigger than us. We can't walk away now. Amid the chaos, time felt fragmented, breaths quickening as an unseen force pressed against them, forcing their backs against the gnarled tree. With Abigail's secret hanging in the air like a storm cloud, they had crossed a threshold. It was impossible to turn back now. Too much was at stake. Suddenly, Clara gasped. Maeve, look! Above them in the heavens, a crack split the sky, a rift in reality glowing ominously. It beckoned, dark and alluring. Was this the portal? Was this where Abigail's truth awaited? Heart racing, Maeve realized they had two choices. Wade deeper into the dark waters of mystery or flee from a destiny they now felt intertwined with. The ground trembled under their feet as the shadows howled for release. Would they summon the courage to confront Abigail's curse? Or would they become the next lost souls wandering through the dark? Help me! Abigail's voice echoed once more, a desperate plea wrapped in an unfurling twilight, and as the portal's edges flickered, Maeve felt the terrifying truth seep into her bones. The moment was at hand. Would they unveil the chilling secret behind Abigail's sorrow? Or was it too late for them all? Maeve felt her chest tighten as she stared into the ominous rift above. The air crackled with an energy that tingled against her skin, begging her to step forward. Shadows danced feverishly around her, as if caught in a ballet of despair. And yet, amid that chaos, she sensed a flicker of hope. This was their chance, and it was slipping away. Clara, we have to. She took a breath and squared her shoulders. We have to help her. Clara's wide, terrified eyes met Maeve's, and a shiver passed between them. What if it's a trap? We don't know what's on the other side. But the tremble in Clara's voice contradicted her words. Deep down, she was just as curious, just as desperate to solve the mystery. Before Maeve could respond, the wind whipped ferociously, tossing leaves into the air like confetti. The weight of countless souls pressed down again, a physical pull wordlessly urging them into action. Maeve stepped forward, feeling the ground pulse beneath her feet. Abigail, Maeve shouted, forcing her voice through the tempest. We're coming. And with that, the girls found themselves crossing the threshold. Darkness enveloped them as they plunged toward the rift. The moment felt eternal, as if time was holding its breath. Suddenly, they tumbled into a new reality, landing roughly on an uneven, cobblestone path. Maeve blinked against the sudden shift in light. They had emerged in a ghostly garden, eerily beautiful yet draped in shadows. The air was thick with the scent of wilting roses and decaying leaves, and the sky overhead shimmered with unnatural colors, swirling like an oil slick. Where are we? Clara gasped, scrambling to her feet. There's no time for that, Maeve replied, her heart thrumming wildly in her chest. We need to find Abigail's child, she said before dawn. As they hurried through the garden, Maeve felt the presence of spirits swirling closer. Wispy figures flitted in and out of sight, their faces etched with sorrow, their mouths moving soundlessly. This was the land of lost souls, and every heartbeat they felt was a reminder of the burden they carried. Suddenly, Clara stopped, her eyes locked on something in the distance. "Look, there." She pointed toward a flickering glow beneath a twisted willow tree. The ancient branches formed a curtain of shadows, and there, glowing at its base, was a small, crumpled figure. "Is that?" Maeve whispered, dread creeping into her heart. They rushed closer, adrenaline fueling their movements. As they approached, the sight of the figure became clear. It was a small child, curled up and unnaturally pale, eyes closed as if trapped in a deep sleep. Maeve's breath hitched in her throat. "Abigail's child," she murmured. This was it. They were right. They could break the curse. But as they knelt beside the child, an icy wind swept through the garden. The shadows stirred violently, coiling like serpents around them. With a bone-chilling shriek, a wraith-like figure emerged, eyes filled with rage. It was Abigail, or what remained of her. "No," she howled, her voice a tempest. "You must not awaken my child." The air thickened, crackling with danger. Maeve's instincts screamed at her to flee, but she couldn't. "Abigail," she shouted, battling the chaos surrounding them. "We're not here to harm. We want to help you both." Through the shroud of manic despair, Maeve caught a glimpse of hope in the mother's eyes, but also saw the pain, a deep-rooted fear of letting go. "Release us," Abigail's voice echoed, trembling with sorrow and anger. Time hung in the balance. Would their courage shatter the chains binding the child in eternal sleep? Or would they be consumed by the very darkness they sought to conquer? As Maeve extended her hands toward the pale figure, ready to confront Abigail's rage, she felt the ground shake beneath them. The tension built, straining the very fabric of the realm they had ventured into. "Now or never," Clara yelled, glancing around at the encroaching shadows closing in on them. In that moment, with fear clawing at her heart and hope lighting her soul, Maeve prepared to face the wrath of a mother. The final confrontation loomed ahead, a swirl of fate dangling above them. What awaited them in the depths of Abigail's secret? Would it bring salvation or damnation? Just as Maeve's fingers brushed against that fragile form, a blinding light illuminated the night, altering everything in an instant. What would happen next? Was it the answer they'd fought for, or a new threat altogether? The chilling suspense hung in the air, waiting to be shattered. The light engulfed Maeve and Clara, a flash that dissolved the shadows swirling around them. Time distorted, stretching like a rubber band, before snapping back to reality. They found themselves standing in a void, floating above a landscape that resembled the garden but now felt sterile and hauntingly quiet. Confusion wrapped around them like a thick fog. Clara looked wildly around, her voice a barely audible whisper. "What just happened?" "Something changed," Maeve replied, her heart racing. The ground beneath them shimmered, revealing glimpses of memories like TV static, playing out the lives of spirits once tethered to this realm. She saw Abigail, laughing with her child, their faces lit with joy before everything morphed into a chilling darkness. "Look," Clara exclaimed, pointing at the shimmering silhouettes darting through the void. One figure caught Maeve's eye, resembling Abigail yet more translucent. Her expression twisted with an unspeakable sorrow, tethered to regret. "Perhaps her past holds the key," Maeve murmured, an idea forming. She focused on the figure. "Abigail, can you hear me?" The void amplified her voice, sending ripples across the landscape, but Abigail remained silent, her sorrowful gaze fixed on something beyond their reach. Clara squinted at the direction where Abigail seemed to be staring. "What if there's a way to communicate? Maybe we can find out what she wants." Just as Maeve opened her mouth to respond, the landscape shifted violently, colors morphing into a tempest of gray and black. Hands tender yet powerful emerged from the swirling chaos, reaching for them. "No!" Clara screamed, as one of the hands grasped her wrist, pulling with a strength that sent her tumbling. "Clara!" Maeve shouted, lunging forward, grasping Clara's other hand. Their fingers locked tight, I want to let go. In that moment, focus shifted from fear to determination. Together, they began recalling the laughter of their friend, the warmth of their shared memories, the bond they had forged through trials. Maeve closed her eyes, channeling every ounce of love, every cherished moment in their hearts. Let her go. Maeve cried into the abyss, willing the shadows to retreat. She is not yours. She belongs with us. The hands twitched, hesitating, as if Maeve's words sparked a change. The swirling void paused for an instant, revealing a glimpse of a fragmented scene: Abigail holding her child, a delicate flower in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. There was pain, guilt, but above all an invitation. Clara, focus on her happy memories, Maeve urged, their voices intertwining, bridging the gap between realms. She needs to remember love, not loss. The air buzzed. The wraith-like form of Abigail flickered, caught between anger and a yearning to break free. Let go of the darkness, Clara shouted, her voice steadying. You're not alone. You can be together. With that, a sense of calm washed over the void, cooling the chaos. The figures in the distance began to merge, threading together like threads of light, weaving a tapestry of stories, each fragment a testament of Abigail's life, lovingly recalling the joy hidden beneath despair. Yet just as they began to see a glimmer of hope, a thunderous roar surged through the air, blasting them back, and the warmth of connection shattered like glass. No! Maeve screamed, feeling the darkness claw at her soul. Shadows furiously slapped at the edges of their shared reality. The hands surged back, replacing warmth with an icy grip. Wake up! A voice emerged from the chaos, twisting like a knife. You think love conquers all? You don't know her pain. The walls of the void started to close in, suffocating their light, leaving them gasping for breath and drowning in darkness. With the terrifying pressure escalating, Maeve grasped Clara's hand tighter. She could almost feel the childish pulse beneath her fingers, a flicker reminding her of the stakes. We're not done. We must dig deeper. Would their intertwined hope be enough to pull them from the brink of despair? Or was the price of their bold attempt too steep in a place where memories twist and anguish reigns? As the shadows advanced, a haunting whisper echoed around them. What will you give to awaken the dead? In the darkness that followed, the girls braced for a sacrifice, ready to face what awaited beyond the veil. And in the depths of fear, they felt the final chill creeping in, a harbinger of twisted choices yet to be made. The pull of darkness wrapped around Maeve and Clara like a vice, squeezing the breath from their lungs. Clinging to each other, they fought against the fear that threatened to consume them. Shadows twisted and morphed, their whispering voices drowning out the sound of their racing hearts. Each pulse echoed in the void, fragile and small amid the chaos swirling around them. Keep your eyes on Abigail, Maeve yelled, trying to remain focused. Clara nodded, her gaze fixed on the translucent figure flickering just out of reach. The wraith's eyes held despair, but there was something else mixed within, a desperate need for release. Maeve squeezed Clara's hand, feeling the warmth pulse through her fingers. Remember the flower she held? The laughter? We need to draw her back to those moments. Make her see. A forceful gust blew through the void, distorting the air and almost yanking them apart. Clara shouted, what if those memories aren't enough? What if we have to understand her pain? Maybe that's how we'll reach her. The swirling shadows responded, tendrils thrumming like forgotten hearts. Maeve hesitated, filled with indecision. Her pain, but what about ours? Will it be too much? Clara leaned close, her voice fierce yet tinged with uncertainty. We have to try. It's now or never. With a deep breath, Maeve thought back to her own darkest moments, times when grief had almost swallowed her whole. She felt that suffocation crawling back. The shadows sensed her vulnerability, stirring with a renewed fury. I'm losing you. Clara's voice trembled, drag races growing louder. Hold on, Maeve. Maeve fought against the darkness. Her heart thundered in her chest. Abigail, we're here for you. We share your sorrow. We know what it's like to feel everything slipping away. The void rippled, a violent wave coursing through, but Maeve pressed on. Your child loves you. Let us help you find your way back. You don't have to be afraid. Abigail's figure flickered more visibly now. Her gaze locked onto Maeve, some part of her straining to break free. The shadows lunged again, trying to snatch Clara from Maeve's grasp, pulling at her limbs relentlessly. I want to let you go, Maeve shouted, gritting her teeth. Dig deeper, Clara screamed, as her voice merged with the chaos. Suddenly, memories flashed before Maeve's eyes. Abigail's joy turned to despair, the laughter of her child replaced by the echoes of loss. And in that moment, Maeve felt like she was not just reliving it. She was becoming part of it. She could sense Abigail's despair washing over her, a torrent that threatened to drown her in anguish. Please, Abigail's wail tore through the void. I don't know how to let go. In that excruciating instant, Maeve understood. You must remember the love, the brightness, the child who looks to you with hope. As if summoned, fragmented images of Abigail's happiest moments burst forth, clear and brilliant. The air changed. It felt lighter, almost airy against the weight of despair. Let the love break the chains, Clara urged, her face an open book of determination. But just as Abigail's form began to stabilize, the shadows roared back, more furious than before, an angry tempest unwilling to yield to memories of love. What will you sacrifice? Echoed the dreadful voice, strong and eternal, suffocating the very light they fought to uphold. A deep dread filled Maeve. What price would they have to pay? Fear clenched her throat as she realized something deeper was at stake. What if Maeve's thoughts stumbled, uncertain about the silence threatening to overtake them? Maeve, what are you thinking? Clara pleaded, eyes wide. In that moment, she was sure they were standing on a precipice, ready to plunge into an abyss where pain and love intertwined, both powerful forces hungry for an answer. Do we dare? She whispered, the weight of the choice pressing down around them as the shadows roared. Maeve knew they were at the edge. Were they ready to confront whatever awaited them? Or would they lose themselves to the darkest corners of the void? The darkness closed in around them, and the final choice loomed ominously, hanging like a storm cloud in the air. What would they sacrifice to awaken the dead? The shadows writhed, a living entity, pulsating around Maeve and Clara. Fear clawed at their throats, but something stronger pulled them forward, a slender thread of determination binding them. Abigail's flickering figure was almost tangible now, her sorrow wreathed in the turbulence that defined their hellish backdrop. What do we have to lose? Maeve's voice broke through the chaos, trembling yet resolute. We've lost so much already. Clara's breath hitched, the weight of the moment crashing against them. But we can't afford to not try. Maeve interrupted, desperation fueling her confidence. Abigail needs us. No matter what it costs, we have to save her. The shadows convulsed as if enraged by their defiance, throngs of anger reaching for them with claw-like fingers. Shouting drowned in a cacophony of roars and endless whispers, the shadows feeding on their fear. Hold on, Clara shouted, her grip tightening on Maeve's hand, anchoring them amid the storm. From the depths of despair, Abigail's voice broke through. Why do you care? I am lost beyond the light. Because we all deserve to be found, Maeve cried, forcing her insides to settle as she pushed the bitter taste of dread from her tongue. We understand the darkness. We've felt it creeping in. You're not alone anymore. With each word cascading from Maeve's lips, light shimmered around Abigail, illuminating her face with raw vulnerability. The haunting pain lingered in her eyes, but a flicker of something else began to emerge, a glimmer of hope. Love cannot be extinguished by despair, Clara said softly, her voice like a tender balm against the chaos. You were once filled with joy, Abigail. Remember the warmth of your child's laughter. Realization illuminated Abigail's features, even as shadows clawed at her. I have lost everything, she whispered, tears spilling down her ethereal cheeks. Not everything, Maeve pressed on. You still hold her in your heart. Let that love be your beacon. Let us show you the way back. You're stronger than this. The shadows shrieked, rumbling in protest as they wrapped tighter around Maeve and Clara, wanting to suffocate their light. Cold seeped into their bones, a warning of what was at stake. Just then, a shift in the air, thick as a fog, cut through the chaos. Maeve felt it, Abigail's pain merging with her own. A sharp, bitter pang of grief shot through her. Could she truly channel all that hurt? The weight felt heavier than before. "Tell me what you need," Clara yelled over a gust so fierce it sent them both staggering backward. Abigail's gaze flickered, and for the first time, there was no sinister shadow hiding her expression. "I need to remember why I fought, why I lived." "You were a mother," Maeve yelled, almost lost in the tempest. "You birthed love into this world. You fought for her every day." A final howl cracked through the void, erupting like a thunderstorm, seemingly imploding around them. The shadows tried to seize the moment, tugging at Abigail, pulling her back into the abyss. "No." Clara's voice was a lighthouse amid the chaos, fierce and unwavering. "We won't let you drown again." As if touched by her words, Abigail's form flickered once more, ethereal strands of her past blooming into the chaos around them. Images of her holding a child, laughter ringing through their home, flooded the void. Each one a memory, a thread of light reaching for them. "Hold on to that love," Maeve screamed, sending her willpower through every fiber of her being. "Let it consume you." The shadows recoiled, shrieking in fury as a blast of energy radiated from the memories, a fracture in the darkness as light poured in. But at that moment, Abigail's voice trembled. "What if I can't let go?" The swirling chaos roared louder. Every shudder echoed like the roar of a beast ready to pounce. To sacrifice all that made her mortal, could she? "Don't make that choice alone," Maeve urged, knowing they teetered on the brink of losing not only Abigail but themselves as the shadows trembled and flared. The air thickened, charged with electricity. The precipice was crumbling beneath them, and Maeve grasped Clara's hand tighter. What would they have to face if Abigail chose to let the darkness win? Would they lose everything they fought for? "Time is running out," Clara screamed, desperation lacing her voice. In that breathless moment, Maeve realized they weren't just fighting for Abigail. This was a battle for hope against despair, love against pain, and it all hung on the edge of a knife. "Choose, Abigail," Maeve cried, heart racing wildly in anticipation. "Choose." But as the shadows closed in, threatening to engulf them all, an unsettling silence fell. Would this be the moment they finally broke? The question hung heavy when they needed answers most. What fate awaited them as they pushed into the heart of the darkness? The abyss seemed to hold its breath. The flickering light around Abigail swirled in defiance against the encroaching darkness, but the shadows, feral and relentless, were undeterred. They crept closer, drawn to the fragile light, gnashing at the edges of her memories, hungry for despair. "Abigail," Maeve's voice sliced through the stillness. "Fight. Remember who you are." As if stirred by her words, Abigail's eyes, once lost and hollow, flashed with fiery recognition. A spark ignited within her, a defiance that pulsated against the pull of the tormenting darkness. The images rushing back were fierce and vivid. The smell of her childish hair, the sound of innocent laughter, an embrace that swelled with warmth and love. Each memory wove a tapestry against the shadows trying to ensnare her. "I fought for her," Abigail whispered, but doubt lingered. "Yes," Clara shouted, each word a bulwark against the storm. "You fought. You still can. Don't let the shadows win." The howling darkness hesitated just for a heartbeat. It felt the tide of emotions shifting, as if the very essence of love was rising like the sun after a storm. The shadows recoiled just slightly, sensing the power within Abigail's memories. But beneath them, Maeve felt the ground tremble. How long could they hold out? The darkness was insatiable, swirling with malicious intent. A thought struck her, a suggestion that trembled at the edges of her mind. "Clara," she breathed, stealing a glance at her friend. "What if we share our love too? If Abigail can feel that she is not alone, maybe it'll free her." Clara nodded, eyes fierce with determination. The ground quaked with a renewed horror as Abigail's hesitation filled the air. They had to act. There wasn't a moment to waste. "Abigail," We're here with you. You are not alone in this fight. We won't let you go. They cried in unison. The words bolstered them, a hymn of defiance against despair. Stirring from the depths of her grief, Abigail drew strength from the vivid recollections of love cascading through her mind, remembrances that were no mere wisps of smoke but tangible fires lighting her path home. I remember, she echoed, her voice gaining momentum amidst the storm. I remember my fight. For myself. For my child. I must bring them light, too. Suddenly, the withdrawal of the shadows became a violent uproar. They screeched, a cacophony of rage that echoed off the fabric of this hellish realm. The once silent terror now howled like a banshee as they lost their hold on Abigail. Let it go, Abigail, Maeve urged, confidence flooding her veins. Feel the love that binds us. It's our shield against the shadows. Abigail lifted her chin, defiance burning bright in her eyes. With a thunderous roar, she unleashed a wave of light so brilliant it shattered the darkness around them. The shadows screamed in protest, writhing like exposed worms beneath the sun. Hold on, Clara shouted, gripping Maeve's hand tighter. Colors erupted through the storm, swirling shades of warmth that filled the void like a sunrise, illuminating the glimmers of hope. But even as they surged forward, captured by the eruption of light, a sudden darkness surged behind them, thicker and darker than what had come before. This is not over. An echoing voice bellowed, reverberating off the walls of despair. The ground beneath them shook violently, fracturing into pieces while the shadows shrieked their wrath. They were on the verge of breaking free. But were they too late? Keep moving, Maeve yelled, her heart pounding against her ribcage, driven by an instinctual need to push through as the pulsing energy engulfed them. Another fear washed over Maeve. What awaited them on the other side of this brilliant light? They pressed forward, propelled by hope, but the darkness murmured threats laced with laughter. Do you think you truly know what lies ahead? And in that moment, the light, once bright and invigorating, flickered ominously. The ending felt uncertain as the void drew near, suffused with dread. Stay together, Clara shouted, panic creeping into her voice. But in the depths of their hearts, the truth lingered ominously. What terrifying truths awaited them beyond this conflagration of light? The brilliant light began to dim, flickering like a dying flame. A chill threaded through the air, sharp like ice cutting into their skin. Claudia's breath came faster, panic clawing at her throat, threatening to suffocate her. Hold on, she gasped, looking at the faces of her friends, illuminated by the fading glow. Maeve's expression was a mix of determination and fear, while Abigail appeared more resolute than ever. It was as if the memories of her child bolstered her spirit, even as the shadows crept closer. But the ground beneath them shifted again, a brutal tremor sending shockwaves through their chests. The abyss echoed with the sinister laughter of the darkness. You think love will save you? The voice sneered, wrapping around them like a cold embrace. With each pulse of the now trembling light, shadows lunged forward, clawing at the edges of their sanity. Maeve squeezed Clara's hand tighter, as if their connection might stave off the encroaching doom. We can't give in. Remember what we fought for, she shouted, her voice a war cry amid the chaos. Abigail echoed her, standing firm as the shadows rushed toward her. You don't own me, she shouted, defiance lacing every word. I will not be consumed. The shadows recoiled for a moment, spurred by her fierce proclamation. But the voice returned, low and mocking. Oh, Abigail, but you still fear the memories you've buried. They haunt you, even now. For a brief second, Abigail faltered. Clarity splintered as dark tendrils surged forward, grasping for her. She saw flashbacks, moments she thought she had sealed away, the laughter turning to cries, the tender smile morphing into grief. The darkness fed on those fractured pieces, twisting them into something dark and cruel. Clara, sensing Abigail's wavering resolve, stepped forward. It was time to share their own burdens. Remember the times we fell, Abigail? We got back up. We shared our pain, and that made us stronger. With her words, Clara felt a shift, a spark igniting in the depths of her heart. Maeve joined in, urgency resonating through her voice. This fight isn't just yours. We're with you. Let us tear through the shadows together. They formed a circle, hands clasped, grounding each other in the chaos. Then they unleashed a cascade of memories, joyous moments intertwined with their own struggles. Each cherished recollection combined like a thread weaving in and out of the shadows, stitching together hope with vibrant light. The darkness shrieked in fury, its claws screeching against the burgeoning brightness. You think you can conquer me? I am inevitable. I thrive on your fears. But the trio pressed forward. You are nothing without our love. Abigail roared, her voice harmonizing with her friends, ripping through the tendrils of despair. The bond between them blazed with an intensity that illuminated the void, reverberating through the very fabric of the abyss as the light swelled, shadows writhed, screaming in agony. But it still felt like a deception, like they were clawing their way to salvation but were destined to remain encased in darkness. Then, in the eye of the storm, the voice struck again, low and shuddering. Remember, the shadows reflect your fears. What will you do when they return? Will you choose love? Or will you fail? Panic gripped Maeve. What if we can't hold on? She whispered, uncertainty clouding her eyes. Abigail couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. We must keep fighting, but the ground beneath them trembled more violently than before, cracking wide open like a bitter wound. They were on the brink of their escape, but would they emerge victorious or succumb to the very darkness they sought to vanquish? The last pulse of light flickered, and a swell of shadows surged towards them. What awaited them beyond this kaleidoscope of brilliance? A fear clawed at them, hinting at the secrets the darkness might reveal. The darkness howled, a storm of whispers echoing their fears, wrapping around Maeve, Clara, and Abigail like shackles. The shadows roared in fury, retreating momentarily from the flickering light, but they were relentless and cruel, extending claws to drag them back into the abyss. Time itself felt twisted, as if they spiraled through moments of despair and hope all at once. Stay focused, Maeve shouted, her voice a sturdy bridge over the chaos. We can't let them break us. Clara gripped Maeve's hand tighter, her breath hitching in her throat. We can't give up now. Not when we're so close. Abigail stood before them, her translucent figure flickering in and out of sight, caught between this world and the next. I don't want to lose you, she cried, tears streaming down her ghostly face. Then remember the love, Maeve urged, a surge of passion igniting between them. Remember the laughter, the moments that mattered most. In that instant, Clara shared her memories, allowing the warmth of shared joy to flood the darkness around them. The flowers you picked, the songs you sang, each moment filled with love binds us together. Feel it. The air shifted again, palpable as they conjured the memory of laughter brighter than the shadows, as if each syllable radiated light. The swirling darkness shrieked, pained by the love resonating through each sound. No, the darkness hissed, folding back momentarily as if to regroup. You think this can save her? But Maeve and Clara pressed on, more resolute than ever. You don't know us, Maeve replied, her heart pounding. We won't let fear win. Abigail, feel our strength. With every heartbeat, Maeve felt the shadows shift, an unsettling retreat giving way to flickers of vulnerability. She tightened her grip around Clara and Abigail, the bond strengthening with every shared breath. Remember your child, Clara shouted, the urgency rippling through the air like a desperate prayer. I remember her laughter, Abigail gasped, and the darkness recoiled slightly as the flickers of light swelled in response. Her ethereal form pulsed, resolving further into reality, a spark of certainty emanating from her spirit. Amidst the roiling shadows, memories bloomed. Abigail's child nestled comfortably in her arms, soft giggles echoing in the air, a sunbeam breaking through the clouds. The light intensified as if fueled by their collective strength, transforming sorrow into an unstoppable surge of warmth. Embrace that love, Maeve urged, her voice breaking through the smothering shadows. Use it to fight. The shadows twisted violently, enraged by the outpouring of love, clawing desperately to reclaim their hold. What will you give to awaken her? The voice sneered, a palpable threat slithering through their resolve. "We'll give everything," Maeve shouted as hope ignited within her chest. "Just let her go. Let all of us go," Clara echoed passionately, her conviction mirroring the fury of light swelling in their hearts. And like a thunderclap, Abigail released a piercing scream, an echoing shout that broke through the fog of darkness. "I am the light." Suddenly, a brilliant light exploded from within her. It spread like wildfire, consuming the shadows around them with radiant hope. The wailing shriek of the darkness sounded pained, retreating further as the figure of Abigail solidified into stark clarity. Eyes blazing with newfound strength. Emboldened, the trio pushed back against the encroaching shadows. "You don't own us," Maeve roared defiantly. The shadows writhed as they focused on the radiant love, its pulse thudding in their ears. With every breath, they felt stronger, tethered to each other in a tangled web of support. Then, with a final unified push, they let go of everything they had feared, every thread of sorrow they had clung to. The light erupted forward, shattering the darkness that loomed over their destinies. A blinding flash enveloped them, and suddenly, they were standing on the cobblestone path of the ghostly garden. The air was vibrant and full of life. The twisted willow tree stood tall and illuminated, leaves shimmering like gold under a dawn unlike any other. They blinked against the brightness, hearts racing with the knowledge that they had triumphed. Abigail, now whole, turned toward her friends, gratitude shining in her eyes. "You freed me, you freed us all." Maeve and Clara exchanged glances, emotions storming in their chests' relief, joy, kinship. They had faced the darkness and emerged sparkling with newfound hope. "Now," Abigail said, her voice soft but powerful, "my child is free, and so am I. I can finally let go." The ethereal woman began to fade, filling the garden with light, casting warmth over everything. Clara stepped forward, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you, Abigail. We'll never forget you. Your spirits live on," Abigail whispered, her form dissolving into a cascade of brilliant light. "You always have the power to choose love." With a final shimmer, she vanished, leaving the garden radiant and free of despair. The bonds they had formed that night glimmered in the air like spider silk, a beautiful testament to their struggle love conquering the dark. Exhausted, yet empowered, Maeve turned to Clara with a smile. "We did it. Together," Clara replied, squeezing her hand. And as dawn broke over Maplewood, illuminating every shadow, the echoes of their victory rang loudly among the spirits, a promise forged in love and friendship. When faced with the choice between darkness and light, they would always choose love. Now, if this finale resonated with you, you need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button to fuel our presence in the algorithm. Flood the comments section below with your thoughts and theories. I want to hear everything. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support.